I mean, recovery is definitely a huge part of anyone kind of following the fitness game, especially runners, because your knees take a huge toll. And I'm thinking people who train for a marathon, a lot of the times they don't even get to run the marathon because they get an injury in between even, training for it. So how did
Yeah.
you, like, what advice would you have for recovery? And is there anything you would do now? Like, I'm guessing
Mm.
4 weeks, you've finished the event, you're still in recovery mode, really, especially
Yeah.
with your weight and trying to get that all back on. Do you have any things that you would maybe do more of or do less of?
That's a long, I can have a very long answer to that. I'll try and be as succinct as I can, mate.
Mate,
There's so many
rattle it
things to
off.
do.
We got time.
There's so many things to do. So I've learned a lot about myself over the past, well, 10 years, but I guess 5 years of, since beginning planning of running the world and everything that's come since. Um, but the answer is my mind is much stronger than my body. And for a lot of people, that's not necessarily the case. And obviously, it has pros and cons with each side. So I suppose if I split it into two, number one is most likely the pains that you're having, if it's a running related soreness, and I'm saying soreness instead of injury, is just soreness and you're not actually injured, you can probably do yourself some good by continuing. And I know that's a controversial thing to say because everybody says, oh, you need to rest before you have the injury. But I have had so many injuries and of sorenesses that have become injuries and then be able to run through them. And what that does for you is it may hurt your body, but it bolsters your mind and it enables you to carry on when the pain is that bad. Now, for me, if I was training for something and I had an injury or a soreness, then maybe I would slow down a bit. But in my situations of these expeditions, I don't have that choice. I don't have that luxury. And so when I do carry on, I then realized that the body is capable of so much more. So that's my first point, is that the body can do much more than your mind thinks it can. And during Run Britain, for example, I had 4 or 5 pretty rubbish injuries. I had a flip meniscus in my right knee. I've had torn Achilles. I had two fractures in my right tibia. And these were some of which would be classed as pretty catastrophic injuries for a running attempt.
Yeah.
But due to and overall over that entire 128 days, I had 2 periods of rest. One was for 3 days and one was for 4 days, and then another day in the hospital. So there was about, I think it was about 8 or 9 days in total that I had off my feet. When I was given the prognosis in the hospital, having the x-rays and saying you need 6 to 8 weeks off because you've fractured your leg, and it's amazing what the mind can do. The other side of the coin is I need to get stronger. I need to get more mobile. I need to stretch more. I need to take that side of my career and my life, not just my career, but my life, really, because it is my body, I suppose. I need to take that more seriously. And even throughout Run Britain, I started to learn certain exercises and certain stretches that I did that helped me. And in honesty, there's no real point going into detail of those because it's so individual for everybody. And even just the slight kind of roll of an ankle here and there can change what you need to strengthen more. So what I'm actively doing and have been doing since I finished and will be doing over the next 18 months is, and even longer than that, is putting together a program that trains my body to not just run, because I know I can do that now, but to be aware of the injuries, because quite frankly, I'm a bit fed up of being able to keep running but having so much pain because I want to be able to run without the pain. And so I need to take all of this other stuff not for granted anymore and actually take it seriously. So understanding my stretching, understanding the science behind what happens and why things happen. And if you looked at my legs now, having 4 weeks off the back of the trip, you would not think I was a runner. You'd think I'd never run a mile in my life. My legs are so skinny and like they have no muscle, nothing on them. It's because I've used it all through running, because my nutrition wasn't right and because I didn't stretch. I didn't take everything as seriously as I should do. So I thought I went into Run Britain being I was going into it with 700 marathons or something under my belt, 800 and no, it was 830, I think. Before I started, and I thought I was a pretty knowledgeable runner, but it just goes to show you can keep learning. And I learned that actually all of the other things I wasn't that good at and I need to get better at. running one foot in front of the other, fine, but everything around the outsides of that is what makes up a great runner. So I'm getting better, but yeah, a lot of realizations for me.